I find the characters of Edric Storm and Mya Stone very interesting. In fact, I find all of Robert Baratheon's bastard children interesting, given how few members of House Baratheon remain by the end of A Dance with Dragons. But in the show, only one of Robert Baratheon's bastard children is shown in any real complexity, Gendry, whom in the show, after his time in the Riverlands of Arya Stark, is given much of the role and function of Edric Storm. In this video, we are going to take a look at the cut bastard children of Robert Baratheon, talk about why they may have been cut from the show, and how elements of their story were given to other characters. Mya Stone is the first of Robert Baratheon's known bastard children, born around 279 AC. By the time of the main books, Mya is a young woman in her late teens, serving House Royce at the Gates of the Moon as a guide on the treacherous rocky climb from the Vale to the Eyrie, leading trains of mules. Mya is a tall, strapping young woman with coal-black hair of House Baratheon, cut short, with deep blue eyes. Her eyes are noted to be among her best features. Mya is said to have a mirthful, lusty personality. She tends to dress in a masculine manner, not surprising given her job of leading the train of mules up the Giant's Lance. The young Robert Baratheon fathered Mya on a commoner while he and Eddard Stark were being fostered in the Vale of Arryn by Jon Arryn, Lord of the Eyrie. It is said that when Lyanna Stark, Ned's younger sister, heard of Mya's birth and her parentage, she became less enthusiastic about her betrothal to Robert. Robert often brought Ned along during his daily visits to see Mya, even after he had lost interest in her mother. Mya remained in the Vale at the Gates of the Moon when Robert became king after Robert's rebellion and took up residence in the Red Keep of King's Landing. At some point after the birth of Prince Joffrey Baratheon, Robert expressed interest in taking one of his base-born daughters, speculated to be Mya, to court in King's Landing. Queen Cersei Lannister did not protest, but did spitefully state that the city is not a healthy place for a growing girl, inferring that Cersei would harm her. Robert grew enraged enough to strike his wife, but did not press the point any further. Given how open Robert was about Mya being his daughter during his time in the Vale, Mya is somewhat openly known to be the bastard daughter of the king, although she was not acknowledged by her father, such as her base-born half-brother Edric Storm. She does have vague memories of her father as a big, strong man, tossing her in the air and catching her, though it is unclear if Mya is actually aware that the king is her father. During the events of A Game of Thrones, having learned that Gendry is one of King Robert's bastard children, Lord Eddard Stark recalls Mya from when he was fostered with Robert at the court of Jon Arryn. After Catelyn Stark's arrival at the Gates of the Moon, she is ordered to ascend to the Eyrie by her sister, Lady Lysa Arryn. Mya is there to assist Catelyn to the sky using mules, after which Lady Stark ascends to the Eyrie in a basket. Mya tells her that she is in love with a squire, Michael Redford, and hopes to marry him when he's made a knight. Catelyn believes this is unlikely to happen, as Mya is baseborn and House Redford descend from First Men nobility. Later, during the event of A Feast for Crows, Miranda Royce reveals to Elaine Stone, aka Sansa Stark, that Mya lost her virginity to Michael Redford. Mya is said to have still hoped for marriage, till the newly knighted Michael was ordered by his father, Lord Horton Redford, to marry Isilda Royce, daughter of Lord Yowen Royce of Runestone, a very good match for a man of his standing. Later, Mya catches the eye of the older man Sir Lothar Brune, and assists Sansa and Lord Robert Arryn when they descend from the Eyrie to the Gate of the Moon. During the Winds of Winter sample chapters, Mya informs young Robert that Lady Anna Waynwood's party has arrived at the Gate of the Moon for the tourney of the Brotherhood of the Winged Knight. Sansa notices that Mya is unhappy with Michael's presence at the castle, and also that the baseborn girl seems nervous around nobility. Until we see the Winds of Winter, that is all we currently know of Mya Stone. Mya is in fact one of my favourite minor side characters in the series. I really like her personality and find Robert's relationship with her very interesting. Out of all of his children, it perhaps seems that at least when she was a baby and a small child, he was close to her, and Robert perhaps wishing to bring her to court kind of implies that he cared for her as well, in a way he perhaps didn't for his other children. While I was disappointed that she was cut from the show, this is one of the cases where I do understand why. While for a side character she is interesting and her connection to Robert is compelling, her role in the story and her function are not really vital to the adaptation. Thus, when the writers were looking to bring the page to screen, I can see why Mya didn't make the leap. But the same cannot be said for her half-brother, Edric Storm, whose function in the story was too important to cut. Even so, the character himself did not make it into the show. Edric Storm is one of the few bastards fathered by King Robert Baratheon to actually be acknowledged, due to his mother being a high-born noble. Much like all of Robert Baratheon's true children, Edric has the traditional Baratheon look, with jet black hair and deep blue eyes. It is said by those who knew Robert when he was young that Edric resembles his father in his youth, with his characteristic hair, eyes, jaw and cheekbones. But Edric also possesses the large ears to his mother's house, Florent. He was noted as being charming and courteous, fierce and proud. In this respect, he shares several similarities to his two uncles, Stannis and Renly Baratheon. Edric was conceived by King Robert and Delaena Florent on the wedding night of Lord Stannis Baratheon to Selyse Florent in 287 AC. Delaena was Selyse Florent's cousin. Stannis saw his brother's actions on the night of his wedding in his own marriage bed as a massive insult, not only to himself, but his wife and her house. The event would cause great animosity between them for many years. Stannis would end up sending the boy to Storm's End to be raised by his other uncle, Renly Baratheon, as a result. So Courtenay Penrose, the Castellan of Storm's End, would act as Edric's guardian, and was noted as being fond of the boy. As Delaena was a noblewoman, Robert had no choice but to acknowledge the boy as his son. He sent the boy gifts every year on his name day. They are said to have included a pony, a sable cloak, and a child-sized warhammer similar to his father's famed weapon. Edric would write to his father, thanking him for the gifts. Upon receiving the letters, the king would laugh and ask Varys the spider what he had sent the boy this year. Edric first appears during a clash of kings as Stannis Baratheon tells Davos Seaworth he intends to use Edric's resemblance to his father as proof of Queen Cersei Lannister's children by Robert, Joffrey, Tommen and Marcella were in fact fathered by her brother, Sir Jaime Lannister. This could perhaps explain why Stannis and Jon Arryn were tracking down as many of Robert's bastards as they could before Arryn's murder. To build more of a convincing case, as a single child very well could be an outlier. During the War of Five Kings, after the death of Renly, Stannis offers the garrison of Storm's End to go free if Edric is handed over. However, Renly's Castellan, Sir Courtenay Penrose, resists, not knowing Stannis' intent for the boy. However, after Penrose falls to his death at the hands of Melisandre's dark magic, Stannis takes Storm's End and ships both Melisandre and Edric back to Dragonstone. Edric next appears during a Storm of Swords, still on Dragonstone, where he spends time with his cousin, Stannis' daughter Shireen Baratheon, and her fool Patchface. The two seem to get on well. Edric comes down with a chill, so Maester Pylos leeches him. Edric faces pressure to convert to the Lord of Light like many of Stannis' followers. However, he remains loyal to the faith of the Seven. Melisandre pressures Stannis to burn Edric, as she believes he has king's blood, being Robert's son. She believes by sacrificing the boy and his royal blood, that it would wake a dragon from stone in the depths of Dragonstone. So Davos Seaworth instead pressures Stannis to spare him. For now, Davos seems to have convinced the king. Instead, Edric is leeched, and his blood is then used in a ritual to curse Stannis' three rival kings, Joffrey Baratheon, Baelon Greyjoy, and Robb Stark. Subsequently, Baelon falls from Pike, Robb is killed at the Red Wedding, and Joffrey is poisoned at his own wedding to Margaery Tyrell. So seemingly, the ritual had some power, or perhaps was it just coincidence? Worried that after the success of the leeching, Stannis would be more open to burning Edric, Davos, with the help of Pylos, secretly ships him away to the Free Cities aboard a ship called the Mad Prendos. Edric wanted to say farewell to Shireen and Stannis, not truly knowing the situation, but Davos, secretly speaking as Stannis' hand of the king, insists there is no time. Davos appoints Andrew Estamont, Edric's cousin, to act as his guardian. Gerald Gower, Tristan of Tally Hill, Lewis the Fishwife, and Omer Blackberry also accompany Edric as his guard and protectors. Davos had to defend his actions to Stannis, and a very disappointed Melisandre, worsening Davos' already distrustful relationship with her. It's after this that Stannis sails north to the wall. Edric and his protectors sailed across the narrow sea past the stepstones to Essos. The last we know of him, he is supposedly hiding in Lys. Edric Storm was cut from the show, but like many other cases such as this, the key point of Edric's role is given to another of Robert Baratheon's bastard children, one the audience knows well, Gendry. In the book, the last we see of Gendry is when he parts ways with Arya Stark to join the Brotherhood Without Banners. It's here he picks up the key parts of Edric's story, with Gendry being brought to Dragonstone and filling Edric's role in Melisandre's ritual, with Davos then helping him to escape by boat. The question here is Gendry's role in later seasons of Game of Thrones, once it passed the books, his own or also Edric's? This is complicated when you consider that we are yet to find out if Gendry even has a role in the Winds of Winter, or even Edric for that matter. In the show, Gendry plays a role in the North during the War for the Dawn, and ends up being legitimized and made Lord of Storm's End by Daenerys. It will be interesting to see if any of that actually happens in the Winds of Winter, and if it does, will it be Gendry or Edric in the role?